buddy.
There it is. So what's up, dude? What
Not
are we
much.
drinking today?
We're drinking Pineapple Cart by the Golden Road Brewing.
Sponsor us, please.
Yeah, I mean, I take any beer.
Hey, listen, if it's
Sponsored.
hey, course, we'll drink that thing.
Or some of the Scotch sponsored,
Yeah.
but they're Scotch. It's
Yeah,
Scotland.
they're not gonna sponsor a couple guys
Yeah.
on the camera. You know, they got a different.
We're not old and sophisticated.
got cigars.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It
So
was.
what's up, dude? What's on today's agenda, man?
Cool beanie, by the way.
Oh, beanie. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Meanie beanies, fisherman beanie. ASOS has them. So ASOS paying my cut when these people go on.
Yeah, you want everyone to sponsor you. all of a
Yes,
sudden?
I'm trying to make something out of nothing. So what's up, dude? What do we have today's agenda?
No, we just had a question that I forgot who asked, and we thought we'd
Oh yes.
talk about it. But the question is, who should pay for dinner? Should the man pay for dinner, or should it be split? Or I mean, should the man pay for dinner, like when you go on a date?
So I think you can break this up into many things, but on the first date, I typically have paid for dinner.
Is that like your rule,
Um,
or your kind of standard?
No, it's not that it's a standard; it's a rule. I would make the initial kind of gesture. Now, I have had that I've been on dates where the woman wants to pay for half, and trust me, I don't fight it. I let it go.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but do I think that should be the standard? I don't know. I think it should be. It also depends who asks who, right?
Well, I think there's a couple things you need to look at
Right.
to answer that, and that's like, are you looking at it from a traditional perspective, or are you looking at it from a more modern relationship? So I think, and both of them have, a side to them, an argument that it's not necessarily wrong, but it comes down to that, whether, where do you fall? So like, for example, with traditional roles, as we know, a lot of it comes from, women being the housewife, being, they weren't out there in the workforce. They stayed home, so the man was the one who provided, the one who took care of this aspect of a relationship. So they were meant to pay. They were the gentlemen. They were
Right.
chivalrous, whatever you want to call it. Nowadays, it's not necessarily the case. It's changed, as we've known.
But they still want us to pay for for dinner.
Right. So again, that's the argument. Like, are you going to look at what side do you look at it? But the problem is you can't pick and choose what you want.
No. So based
So
on
as we know that, like, we both met women who are rational, reasonable in that sense, and are, like you said, sometimes they're willing to split, or sometimes they don't even mind paying. But when they expect you, I think that's where I personally have a problem.
Yeah.
When the expectation is there, yet they're not traditional by any means. They expect all the good things from a guy being a gentleman and chivalrous, but they don't want to cook for you or put out or whatever it is. Yeah?
So basically it comes down to probably who's sitting across the table from you. If it's someone who is on a traditional level, and like you were just saying, traditional level, but wants to not do all that kind of stuff, then yeah, that definitely rubs me the wrong way. Now, the first date will say a lot of that stuff, and obviously it will depend if we go on a second date or not, or what happens on the second date. Now, there's been times where, I've been on a date and they have offered, and I let them. Go ahead, it's plain and simple. That's cool. I think at that point it kind of pushes me back a little bit on more of the modern tradition. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, this girl she's about it. She kind of has her own and is independent. Now, it also, like, going back to the modern thing, I don't know, how is it nowadays from just kind of, out there, people, like, if you guys want to go ahead and comment from your guys' experience, what is it that you guys have encountered if you're out there on the dating scene, whatever that means, right? Whatever the dating scene means, and you go out to dinner. Do you pay for it on the first date because it's just something that you kind of feel like you have to do, or you genuinely just do it because it's a nice gesture, and are you expecting anything out of it? So I think, like I said, it just depends on who's on the other side of the table. And there's a lot of different variables and factors that go into this going forward from that first date.
Right. Because, you hear for example, your parents or some older, folks Yeah, they definitely usually agree that yeah, the guy should pay, all this. Because they come from that traditional role, and it makes sense to me. Does it apply to our situation now? It's kind of hard to say that it does, unless you are very conservative, you're very traditional, you as a guy and she as a woman. But I think the reality is that in our day and age, it's not necessarily the case. So you kind of either have to adapt and kind of merge both to some extent, where it fits both of you, or just stick to modern, because strictly traditional, it just doesn't make sense, because women also don't want to feel oppressed and feel like, oh, they need to stay home and cook, and most of the time they can't even cook. But you know what I mean.
So just a quick little example. I remember when I was gonna go on my first little date, like a real official date. I was about, I think, 17 years old, right, or something like that. I had a little bit of a job, and I remember Mom saying, "Oh, so did you buy flowers? Did you buy her something?" I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" She's telling me certain things that, like,
I'm like, it's the first date. I'm not proposing.
I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, and it hit me. Obviously, my mom grew up in like the 50s and 60s, where in Mexico somewhere, where it was really like noticeable the aspect of it, right? And so I was like, what the heck? Chill out, Mom. What are you talking about? But then it hit me there at a very young age. I was like, wait a minute. There's certain things guys should and shouldn't do. Because I didn't grow up thinking that, you pay for everything and stuff like that. But all the men, are you not a gentleman? And then amongst my group of friends, there's always a couple guys who are like, no, yeah, you pay for everything. What are you talking? I'm like, whoa, 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 bro, you're going to go broke. You're going to go broke because you're not rich, dude, first and foremost. So that's just the whole thing. So check this out. Like you were saying, there's also women who expect all that traditional stuff, and with the modern twist to it. They want to be wine and dine and all this stuff, but they also want to
be treated equally.
Yeah, be treated equally, and you go open the door, but they're not going to open the door for you.
They like to take the good things and leave out the
bad things, and then those are the type of people I stay away from personally.
Of course. So no, I mean, I think we kind of agree. I don't even think there's necessarily like that big of a conflict, but you still hear it sometimes, because a lot of the people I meet, like even women, friends, whoever it is, they agree with that. So I think it just comes down to those bitches that want
the cake and eat it too.
And eat it too. Yeah, exactly.
They want the president and unwrap it.
Right. So again, if I were to take a trip. If we're gonna take a traditional role, yes. I mean, I don't consider myself traditional in that sense, just because again, a lot of these things are outdated, and we live in a completely different world that doesn't like a lot of these actions wouldn't apply anymore to our world, especially with social media. You see the chick taking selfies, every other day or every day, like.
Yeah, that's very off-putting.
She's not cooking.
She's not cooking. She's taking selfies. So check this out. That's very off-putting in my opinion. Now, when you have a girl who expects to get wine and dine and treated special and almost deserves to be treated that way, and to say I decide to treat her that way because that's kind of what she expects in her standard. But however, she's advertising herself or goods and stuff like that, knowing that she's going to get attention somewhere. That's where we have an issue. Because now I'm buying your time, I'm buying this, and I'm doing all this stuff that's out of my kind of pocket. That it's not monetarily, just out of pocket in my actions. But you still want to go ahead and advertise the goods, like I don't, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't belong to me. So therefore, there's no mutual thing. So we part ways.
Right. So I think we agreed where we stand. Yeah, it comes down to a lot to who the person is that you're dating, I guess.
So also too though, like going back to like just kind of what's working with modern, because I know that's something that we're doing, and obviously we wanted to talk about the first date, but we're pretty clear that we probably would pay for the first date. But just going back to this whole picking and choosing and stuff like that.
I prefer split it, by the way, just to be on the record.
Okay.
But
I do too, bro. So anyways, so now with how I think circumstances lead to a lot of different things, right? If you're a well-off dude, and you can afford to have your wife at home and do all that stuff and pay for all the dates and stuff like that.
But that's already why. We're not talking about why.
Oh no, I wanted to give whoever this rich guy I'm talking hypothetically about the benefit of the doubt.
How about a rich single guy who's dating a girl?
So a rich single guy who's dating a girl, right? So check this out. if I'm out there and I'm paying for everything and I'm doing all this stuff, then I kind of expect a lot of different things. I expect certain things. I expect to be treated a certain way. I expect to be talked to in a certain tone and manner because I'm fronting everything. And yes, I will respect you and I will do that. Say I'm this rich guy, paying for everything. I wouldn't, by the way. Several different reasons. But anyways, so say you kind of get into this situation. Now, if you're a rich dude, that's why rich dudes have a bunch of girls for like different ways, like different, whatever. But anyways, so I'm this rich dude and I'm paying for everything. Like I said, I want to be treated a certain way. Now, when that thing's no longer there, then I don't need it anymore.
Is that what you would do if you had a lot of a lot of money?
See, that's a good question.
I don't think I would. I still think that it comes down to the person, and it comes down to like just mutual respect and all of that. And initially, yes, because what you're talking about just kind of reminds me of Dan Valserian.
That's kind of what
you're kind of willing to take them to your island and fly them wherever, but they need to be in a little thong, jumping around and just
shaking the boobies and stuff,
exactly.
and shooting the guns, and the knockers are
right.
You know what I mean?
So I mean, that I can see why someone with a lot of money can do that, and I'm fine with it if that's your thing. But even if I'm wealthy, I am not going to just pay for everything just because I have all the money, because you have to kind of earn it.
No, absolutely. I think it's earned, not deserved. I think that's something that we're talking about. And also on the same token, like on the flip side around, if I'm with some, I think this is more like if I'm with someone or I'm dating someone who is driven and is ambitious and stuff like that, I'm gonna give her place too. Like if that's who you are and you're carrying your own weight and you don't need a man, and literally it's not like I don't need a man, but truly you don't need a man for certain things, and then 100% we can go about it however you decide to go, and as long as it's not messing with my values and beliefs, and I don't feel degraded at the end of the day, yeah, we can play ball. We can definitely play ball.
Right.
Is that right? Yeah.
So like going back, all right, so we kind of clarified that.
Right.
But even then, I do think that there's still, like preferably, again, I'm more modern, but I think just biologically, there's still those innate roles that are there. We just kind of are trying to fight it. Society, especially the left, these crazy liberals are trying to fight that. Gender roles are constructed. I don't necessarily believe that. Just after reading a lot of biology and psychology and all that, I think we're still meant to perform these gender roles. Maybe not as they are now, but they're still like women are more nurturing, more caring, more and guys are more logical and specific and whatever you want to describe.
Yeah.
So I think to some extent those gender roles are naturally there, and we shouldn't fight them as much as we are currently in society, because I feel like there's a lot of resistance towards them, which it like, again, once you look deeper into it, they do seem to be innate, and they do seem to be there. And why are you trying so hard to fight against it? And again, we've talked about equality, equal opportunity, all of that. Of course, we're for it. But at the same time, just because we're for that and we want to respect each other, there's also that innate aspect of who we are as men and who women are as women. And you shouldn't get too crazy about it. Like these liberals get too crazy about it, extreme.
100%. I feel like so at the end of the day, there's still a certain, like you say, like an innate role. There's still a fucking role. You're still a man. Don't be a pussy. Don't get shoved around by all these new neo beliefs and stuff like that of what we should do as a man or a woman, right? I think at the end of the day, why we decided to do this is because we kind of want to clear up a little bit and let you guys know that it's not so cut and dry. Like guys should do that and girls should do that. But at the end of the day, if it's something that's not convenient and it's kind of knocking you out of your own core beliefs and stuff, then
my point is that you shouldn't do something just because you are told that you should do that. But at the same time, if it comes naturally to you, then also, don't fight it too much. Don't resist it too much. So, we're listening to earlier how that woman was talking about, or was so convinced that, yeah, a man should be a gentleman, should open the door for you, and all these things.
And her answer was because.
Because, right. So, like, oh, how does that make sense?
Because I have to pay for this, because I have to, there's no actual anything concrete for me to do something, I'm not going to do it. Are you going to open the door for me? Are you gonna
Right. So again, it comes down to, first of all, mutual respect, and again, does it make sense? Question where all these things come from. It's not just because that's what your parents told you to do. I mean, they live in a different time. They they didn't have social media. My mom wasn't on social media. Like posting selfies of herself.
No, absolutely. There's this kind of a little bit of example of in real life this whole cake and eat it too, right? So I know this woman or girl who I think these stories are kind of cool. This girl who posted a little, whatever they're called, a little message on one of her social media pages, and she said, have you noticed that Bentley and Lamborghini and all these exotic cars don't have advertising? It's because whatever's valuable and stuff, it doesn't need to advertise itself. But I see this girl posting selfies of duck lips every night. It seems like,
well, first of all, she was comparing herself to.
Okay, I'm gonna get she's that's okay. So she's taking photos after the gym, very provocative. Obviously, she's in gym clothes. But she's showing her nice ass, by the way, if you listen to this. But so she's doing all this stuff. So, okay, so I see a disconnect there. Me being, a troller or whatever, I go ahead and tell her. I was like, you know what? Why are you comparing yourself to a car? She's like, you realize cars are liabilities. And actually, my first response was this. I said, you're just like a fully loaded Accord. It still does the job. And then she hits me with the, boy, I'm the Bentley. I said, why are you comparing yourself to a liability? And then she's like, well, she said something after that. And then I think what I came back, she said something like, well, I'm kind of like a Bentley. I'm going to stay in the garage, and I'm going to not put miles on myself, and I'm going to accumulate value. And then at that point I said, I think you have the wrong analogy about yourself right now. And I think that's kind of, and she kind of knew. So conversation ended, right? So first of all, she's comparing herself to a car. Listen, if you compare yourself to a car,
a fancy car that doesn't need advertising, yet she's still
she's advertising herself. That's the kind of stuff where I completely disconnect from. Not that I wanted to be romantic with this girl or anything. It's just some people just need to get their bullshit called out.
Right. I agree.
So this is the type of thing that we're talking about. So when it comes down to, if you're like, you just mentioned, if you're a nice guy and you feel like you should do certain things like that, then do it. That's fine. But don't get taken advantage of either. There's plenty of women that's going to appreciate the little thing you do and are going to be okay. Are going to be okay with it. Yeah. So, look down, grab your little whatever's in between your legs, and go about your business.
I agree.
As I do. I agree. Oh, man. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
So anyway.
What's up, dude?
That established that.
Yeah, that was quick and simple and to the point. If you guys have any questions, drop a comment. Let us know. Maybe we can continue talking about this. But we really want to hear what you guys have to say. Sometimes we just kind of rant and talk about that stuff. We obviously admit that we don't know everything. This is based on opinion, like we just talked about in the beginning. But it's something that it's entertaining to us, and hopefully we continue to entertain you guys about this.
Yes. What he said.
Yes. Everything he said. Sponsor me.
Yes. Golden Road.
Sponsor.
If you're listening to us, which you aren't, sponsor us. Anyway.
Is that it? Is that all we have to say?
I think so.
Is that it? Anything fun? Anything coming up? Anything you want to do or talk about? The last 5 minutes or whatever that people probably won't even get this far.
No, that's it. Let's shut it down.
I'm kidding.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Click, subscribe, and we love the crap out of you guys. Thank you guys for being loyal. That's it.
Well, some are not loyal.
They're not loyal. I'm just buzzed now. So am I. We love you guys. Take care. Peace. Woo!